Hello there, community. Ooh, yeah, we're in the middle of a crisis. It's a planetary crisis. We're having this crazy virus that is shutting down schools, which I find super interesting because it's all about structures coming down. And the school structure is another structure. And so I know that there are a lot of parents right now feeling extremely worried, they're concerned for their kids' education. They're imagining a scenario where their kids will have to stay at home for quite a long time. And it's easy to freak out and wonder how to proceed, how to move on in the midst of a crisis when you as a parent, you're not a teacher, and you don't know how to do this. How can you ensure that your kids will learn without school? Well, I have been asked to give my best advice, and just to remind you, I am a trained teacher. I'm a pedagogue, and I have been working with kids since I was 19. And due to this quite extensive period of time where I've been able to observe children and really look at them and how they learn, I can tell you that kids learn all the time. Actually, not only children, we as adults, we also learn all the time. It's basically impossible not to learn. Even if you would lock yourself up in a dark room, you would still learn from that experience. And so I think that it's super important to bear this in mind, that we learn all the time, and kids do too. And actually, we learn even better when we are allowed to decide what to focus on and what to do with our time. And I know that kids that haven't had that kind of freedom, kids that have spent most of their time in school being directed by adults, kids that might not even have a lot of free play after school because there are more adult directed activities going on, or because they have to do homework or prepare for exams. It's a little bit hard in the beginning to deal with freedom. It can be too much, and you might see your child, how he or she kind of gallops away in this kind of uncontrolled, crazy way because of the freedom. It's like freedom is so necessary for the human being, and if you've been deprived from it, it can be really, really difficult to deal with it. But my suggestion in this is to keep your head really cool and trust that your child will calm down. And I would really just use this time like as if we were on vacation. Taking it easy, finding a nice rhythm that we all roll with, no pressure, take the pressures off the kids, be super present, and take this as an opportunity to connect with your child, like from a human being to another human being, on a really equal basis. Be showing interest for what your child is choosing to do, also giving your child space and time to do absolutely nothing, having the opportunity to heal from the school system, which isn't that healthy. If you followed my previous videos, or if you've written everything I have, or if you've read everything I've written in Spanish, sorry, don't have everything in English, then you know that my standpoint is that we as adults, we can be a super good support for our kids, but the best support is really not interfering too much with what they're doing, but giving them the space to actively choose what they want to do so that they can develop initiative taking, creativity, problem solving, and everything that goes with freedom. And it can be really hard and challenging if you want to control your child. Then you will probably be confronted with some bigger challenges. But if you can learn to look at yourself And I think that this is the biggest work of everything that we do as parents when we're unschooling our kids, is looking at ourselves and really examining our fears and our worries and take responsibility for them and not projecting them on our kids, wanting them to solve what triggers us. That's the biggest advice I can ever give you. And give your kids the opportunity to live this time as freely as they can. Also considering that if you're in quarantine or if you're self-isolating, there are already restrictions, and so try to create as much freedom as you possibly can within your family. Looking at trusting your child, like how can you trust your child, working with the distrust that we have as adults simply because we weren't trusted as kids, and so we don't really trust ourselves, which leads us not trusting our kids. We think that they make really poor choices, but in unschooling, trust is really also the basis of everything. So I would say work on yourself, work on your fears, look at your trust issues, and support your child's choice, support your child's freedom to not having to do anything, or freedom to choose absolutely whatever they want to do, regardless of what you may think about it. Give a maximum of support with a minimum of interference. Take this time to connect with your child, creating an authentic relationship. If you haven't done so before, and you don't know what I'm talking about, remember when you were a kid, and remember how grown-ups used to like talk down to you, or they wouldn't really treat you as a human being. This is the time to remember that, and remember what you would have liked as a kid. Because when adults connect on an authentic and genuine basis with another human being that is just younger, those younger human beings will respond. It creates trust, it creates a bond, and it creates a real connection. And that connection is what you need right now, because the world is in crisis, everything is uncertain, and that uncertainty creates a lot of insecurity, and you don't want to pass that on to your kid either. You want to create a safe, emotionally safe environment. And so if you can allow yourself to open up your heart and to talk to your child in a really authentic and genuine way, where it's not a top-down conversation, but an equal conversation, a conversation based upon mutual respect and consent, then you will be able to roll through this. You're gonna actually maybe even discover such a nicer way to live your family life, and even a better environment for your child to learn in. And so, God, there's so much more I could say about this, but I hope that this is enough. And if it isn't enough, then you can check my other videos. And also, why don't you write back to me and ask me to record new videos where I can actually respond your doubts directly. And remember also, in May, is it? I am opening up an online workshop for unschooling parents. And really, right now I feel I should do it earlier, because I think people really need it, but my schedule is a little bit jammed. But that might be interesting for you too, if this is something that you suddenly feel could work for you. I wish you so much luck. I really wish you the best. If you could see the kind of relationship that you can have with your kid when your child is free to learn, and when you treat him or her the same way you would like to be treated, there is nothing better. Your child gets his or her creativity back. They start taking really amazing initiatives, and they also learn to develop an incredibly wise decision making. So I'm all for this. I think it is a great opportunity, and why don't you just take it?